So my 22 caliber PCP air gun is as powerful as a 22 rimfire. Yeah, I'm sorry to tell you, but air gun ain't gonna compare to a 22 long rifle. Good old trusty 22 here. Oh, well, if a 22 LR can't get the job done, 22 mag will definitely surely do it, right? Well, well, well. If a 22 mag can't do it, or can't come up with the challenge, the 5.56 Remington will, that's for sure. Hey everybody, welcome back. James here. And in this video, I have something very interesting I wanted to share with you, because I'm going to compare an air gun versus a rimfire 22 LR versus another rimfire, which is 22 mag or WMR, and 22 caliber centerfire 5.56 223 Remington. And with that said, this will be a very interesting video, because not only am I going to chronograph each of these, but at the same time I am shooting the same projectile weight. That's right, you heard that. I'm going to be shooting some heavy 40 grain slugs out of my PCP air gun, which is the AEA Challenger Pro 22 caliber, and I have it turned all the way up. So this is going to be very interesting to see how much power this gun puts out with a 40 grain slug. Moving on down the line here to the 22 LR, I got a brand new box of CCI Velocitor, and these are rated at 1435 feet a second, which we will test out. And I brought my old trusty very first 22 LR rifle that I ever got, my Marlin Model 60. Next we have the 22 WMR, also known as 22 mag. These are CCI Maxi Mag, 40 grain, rated at 1875 feet a second. And I'll be shooting those out of my Marlin XT22M, also 22 Magnum. Lastly, what I have here, I just got these in, is some Sig Sauer Elite Series Varmint Predator 223 Remington 40 grain extreme expansion tip. And I'll be shooting those out of my DPMS Oracle 16-inch 5.56 223 rifle here. So I have the chronograph set up. I'm going to get the magazines loaded, and I'm going to get some chrony numbers. I'm going to take one shot through each just to get a rough idea how much power we're dealing with here. And I have some interesting targets, which I'll go over with you real quick. I have 4 packs of 80 count paper plates. Very interested to see how well those do. I got the trusty 3-inch concrete bricks, landscaping bricks. And I guess if you're ever in a fight with somebody with a baseball bat, would a bullet ever stop a bat? I got a little 25-inch bat to test to see if a bullet can penetrate that. And then lastly, I'll shoot the 10 gauge stainless steel. I believe this is 316 or 304. I can't remember off the top of my head. It's been about 10 years since I've had it. So I'm getting the chronograph set up now, and I have the Caldwell app on my tablet, and I'm going to save the numbers so I can screenshot it and share it in the video here. So let me get to it. Let me get set up here. Okay everybody, so here is the AEA Challenger Pro with the H&N 40 grain slug. This isn't some air gun that you pick up at Walmart. This is set on max settings. If you tried to shoot a 40 grain slug out of a break barrel, no matter the number on the box, it ain't gonna do it. It won't even do it with pellets. But this is a different animal. Let's see what happens here. Ooh, 886 69.73 foot-pounds. There we go. So about 70 foot-pounds out of the AEA. Next up is the Marlin Model 60 with the velocitors rated at 1,435 feet a second. Let's see here. There we go. 1365, 165.5 foot-pounds. Woo! That's packing a punch. All right, next up we have the 22 mag out of the Marlin XT 22 Magnum. Shooting the Maxi Mag, rated at 1,875 feet a second. That was 1891, so that was over the box velocity stated. All right, now that was 317.7 foot-pounds. Woo! That's packing a punch. All right, next up we have the AR-15 DPMS Oracle 556-223, shooting the 40 grain 223 Remington 6 Sawyer. These are rated at 3,650 feet a second with an energy of 1183. Oh boy. Here we go. Nope, didn't pick it up. Dang, I didn't pick it up either. Well, unfortunately, the Chronograph did not want to pick up the 223 Remington. I do know for a fact that this is shooting over 3,000 feet a second because the 16-inch barrel does not shoot the advertised velocity. It's about 300 or so feet per second short, so it's still over 3,000 feet a second, and I'll be able to show that in these targets here. So I'm gonna get it set up in the targets and get the camera on it, and I'll get going here. Okay, first up is the AEA Challenger Pro 22 cal. Again, it's shooting around 70 foot-pounds at the muzzle. Here we go. All right, I'm gonna mark it because I didn't even hear it go off with the earmuffs on. Next up is the 22 LR with the CCI velocitor. And these are about 166 foot-pounds of energy at 1355 or 65. So about 1,350 feet a second. Woo, here we go. That didn't sound that loud either with the earmuffs on. Next up is the 22 mag, and it's shooting 1891, about 318 foot-pounds. It's just barely moving it. Let me go mark it. Next up is the 16-inch DPMS Oracle with the 40 grain 6 hour. Again, Chronograph didn't pick these up, so I guess it would be a wild card. But I do know, everybody knows that Centerfire is obviously more powerful, so there's no question about that. Yeah, that one did it. Okay, everybody, so here's the paper plates. I got them marked. The only one that's not marked is the 223 Remington. Let's see what happened here. So, it looks like they all made it out of the first 80 pack. That's 80. It went through. See if anybody made it out of the 160. The AIRGUN did not make it through 160. Right there. There's the AIRGUN. So the 22 LR, the Magnum, and the 223 went through 160. 40 grain slug AIRGUN. Okay, so 22R, Magnum, and 223. Ooh. Looks like the 22 Magnum and 223 is the only ones that made it through the last stack of paper plates. They didn't completely go through, but they made it to the last stack. And you can see here, 22 LR. There it is right there. There's the 22 LR. It almost made it through. So that just shows the raw power, guys. There's a big difference between AIRGUNs and 22 caliber firearms. So let me set up the next targets and we'll have some fun. Okay, so the AIRGUN is up next. The AEA 22 cal Challenger Pro 40 grain slug 3-inch yard brick. Put my safety glasses on for this shot. About 70 foot-pounds, 890 feet a second. Nothing. Just a little pew. Next up we have the Marlin Model 60 shooting the CCI Velocitors. 166 foot-pounds. Wow, not much there either. Okay, 22 mag against the 3-inch brick. 40 grain, going 890 feet a second. About 320 foot-pounds. Not much there either. Holy crap. Okay, last but not least, the 5.56 223 Remington shooting a 40 grain. Again, these are rated around 3,600 feet a second, about 1,150 foot-pounds. Oh boy. Woo! That one did it. Glad I'm wearing my gear. Now we're moving on to the baseball bat. By the way, all those calibers did not make it to the second brick. Not even the 223 Remington. AEA Challenger Pro, 40 grain slug, 70 foot-pounds. Ooh. It went in, but it did not come out. 40 grain Velociter, 167 foot-pounds. That one went through. There you go. That's a big difference. 160, what, 8 foot-pounds versus 70. That one definitely went through. 22 mag, shooting around 1,890 feet a second, about 318 foot-pounds of energy. I hit the same spot. Well, we already knew that was going to go through anyway. Okay, here is the 40 grain 223, velocity in foot-pounds unknown. This obviously will zip right through like butter, but here we go. Yep. No comparison, guys, whatsoever. The last target I have for you is the 10 gauge stainless steel. I want to see here, obviously we know which one's the most powerful and which one's the least, but let's just see for the sake of the video and the last test to see how powerful or how much energy is dumped on a piece of steel with all these. 40 grain slug air gun, 70 foot-pounds. That wasn't hardly anything. 22 LR, 40 grain. Now there's a ding. 22 Magnum, 40 grain. That's a little punchy. The 40 grain 223. Yeah, you ain't gonna beat a 223. That blew a hole clean through it, guys. Woo! Well, there you go. I don't even know where the little slug for the air gun went, but it ain't these big dimples, I can tell you that. So there you go. So guys, I appreciate you watching as always. I hope you got something from this video, and I hope you see this cool little comparison of shooting all 40 grain projectiles in multiple calibers from AIRGUN, RIMFIRE, and CENTERFIRE, and giving you some ballpark numbers just so you could see here what you're dealing with, even with a very high powerful AIRGUN versus a 22 RIMFIRE. So thanks again for watching, and I hope to see you on the next one.